That's it. Yossi, just sit down. Nobody can sit.
לחיים, בתיומטב, לשון הטבע, בלימוד אכסידס, בדרכי אכסידס, דרסימו ושיחסימו. לחיים, חבר'ה, לחיים. הסגרנו של הרב תכף מיד ממש, לחיים. אנחנו נמצאים בערב י"ט כסלו, ראש השנה לחסידות, היום שבו אור וחיות נפשנו ניתן לנו, היום שבו כל יהודי בעולם מתמלא בכוחות נוספים יותר וגבוהים יותר להבאת הגאולה באופן כזה שהוא מפיץ את תורת החסידות ומתחזק בלימוד החסידות, בדרכי החסידות ובאהבת ישראל ובכל העניינים ומביאים את הגאולה תכף ומיד ממש. האדמו"ר הזקן, כשהוא יוצא מבית הסוהר, הוא כותב מכתב לרב לוי יצחק מברדיצ'ב. הוא מספר לו על הנס הגדול שהקדוש ברוך הוא עשה בזה שהאדמו"ר הזקן יצא מבית הסוהר. והאדמו"ר הזקן במכתב מתאר באריכות איך הפליא השם והגדיל לעשות בארץ עד שכל העמים והשרים ענו ואמרו מאת השם הייתה זאת היא נפלאת בעינינו. הדבר מאוד מאוד מעניין. במכתב הזה האדמו"ר הזקן לא מתאר את גודל החשיבות של י"ט כסלו בכך שהתגלה היחידה שבתורה, סודות התורה, פנימיות התורה. שום דבר מהדברים האלה האדמו"ר הזקן לא אומר. האדמו"ר הזקן גם לא אומר שירד הקטרוג שהפריע ולא אפשר לגילוי תורת החסידות. האדמו"ר הזקן מדבר על משהו אחר לגמרי. האדמו"ר הזקן מתאר שמהי גדלות י"ט כסלו, מהו המיוחד של י"ט כסלו? המיוחד של י"ט כסלו זה זה שהגויים, השרים והעמים ברוסיה, גם הם ראו וגם הם חשו את גודל הנס שנעשה, וכולם אמרו, מאת השם הייתה זאת היא נפלאת בעינינו. האם זהו הדגש של י"ט כסלו, שגם הגויים התרגשו מזה, שגם הגויים התפעלו מזה? וכי מה זה משנה, אם כן התרגשו או לא התרגשו, כן התפעלו או לא התפעלו? אומר הרב שכדי להבין את זה צריך להקדים בכלל שידוע שישנן שני סיבות להתגלות תורת החסידות בדורות האחרונים. סיבה אחת להתגלות זה בגלל שלפני ביאת המשיח, לפני שמאיר אור הגאולה, לפני שמפציע אור השחר, אז כפי שרואים בטבע העולם, החושך של הלילה מאוד מאוד בהתגברות. החושך הוא לא בהתגברות בחצות הלילה, במרחק זהה מהיום הקודם ומהיום הבא. אלא מתי עיקר התגברות החושך של הלילה? דווקא לפני עלות השחר, בסיום הלילה, אז החושך הוא הכי חזק. וכך גם כן בערב הגאולה, ההסתרה והעלמות וההסתרים על קיום התורה ומצוות, וההתנגדות של הקליפה והשטן והפיתויים שיש ליהודים הם מאוד מאוד גדולים ומאוד מאוד חזקים. וכדי להצליח להתגבר על כל החושך של הגלות ועל כל ההפרעות ועל כל ההסתרים, חייבים תרופה מיוחדת, כוחות מיוחדים, תעצומות נפש מיוחדות שהקדוש ברוך הוא נותן לנו דרך גילוי תורת החסידות, שזוהי התרופה להתגבר על כל הקשיים המיניות והעיכובים. וכמו המשל הידוע שאמר האדמו"ר הזקן עוד בתקופת המגיד ומזליץ' על בן המלך שחולה מאוד וכל הרופאים לא מוצאים פתרון למחלה שלו, עד שמגיע הרופא הגדול מעבר ליער, מעבר למרחקים הגדולים ביותר, ואומר, יש לי פתרון, קחו את האבן היקרה ביותר שבכתר המלך, תרסקו אותה, תפוררו אותה, תהפכו אותה לקמח, תערבבו אותה עם מים, וזה מה שיגרום השתייה הזאת, אותן טיפות תרופה פלאיות, הם יגרמו למלך ולבן המלך כדי להיות בריא ולהיות חזק ביותר. אז זה באמת העניין של סיבה אחת ללימוד החסידות. שיהיה כוח להתגבר על קשיי הגלות. שיהיה כוח להתגבר על המניעות והעיכובים. שיהיה כוח להתגבר על היצר הרע ועל כל הפיתויים. זו סיבה אחת. הסיבה השנייה זה בעצם לא כתרופה להתחזק מול קשיי הגלות, לא כתרופה להתגבר מול המניעות והעיכובים, אלא טעימה לגילוי משיח. אבל שם טוב התגלה ביום השישי, ערב שבת אחרי חצות היום. חז"ל אומרים, על הפסוק, כי 1000 שנים בעיניך כי יום אתמול כי יבוא, שיומו של הקדוש ברוך הוא 1000 שנה. והבעל שם טוב התגלה לערך בשנת האלפים, תצ"ד, בתקופת האלפים תק', לערך בשנת 5500. זאת אומרת, ביום השישי בחצות היום. בזמן שבו מתחילים לטעום את מאכלי השבת, בזמן שבו מפסיקים להגיד תחנון, בזמן שבו מתחילים להרגיש את הריח ואת הטעם, ומתחיל כבר להאיר אור השבת, האור של יום שכולו שבת ומנוחה לחיי העולמים, אור הגאולה. וכטעימה מאותו גילוי עצום, גילוי המשיח, התחיל להתגלות בעולם אור תורת החסידות, אורו של הבעל שם טוב הקדוש. מהו הנפקא מינה? ומהו ההבדל בין אם אנחנו אומרים שלומדים חסידות כדי להתגבר על החושך של הגלות, או שלומדים חסידות כדי להתכונן לגאולה? האם לימוד החסידות הוא תרופה, או שלימוד החסידות זה הכנה למשיח? אם זה כדי להתגבר על חושך הגלות, אם זה כדי להתגבר על המניעות והעיכובים, אם זה כדי להתגבר על כל העולמות וההסתרים, מספיק טעימה בעלמא. טעימה בעלמא. כשבאים לבית מרקחת, לא מבקשים, תן לי בבקשה חבית אנטיביוטיקה, תן לי בבקשה חבית אקמול. לוקחים טיפה, והטיפה הזאת גורמת לכל הגוף להיות בריא ולהיות חזק וכו'. אם לומדים חסידות כדי להתגבר על היצר הרע, כדי להתגבר על המניעות והעיכובים, כדי להתגבר על פיתויים, לא צריך הרבה לימוד חסידות. מספיק שלומדים רעיון בשפת אמת, רעיון במאור בשמש, פרק תניא פעם בשבוע, וכבר מקבלים את אותם כוחות נפלאים להתגבר על קשיי הגלות, להתגבר על כל המניעות והעיכובים, להתגבר על כל העולמות וההסתרים ועל כל ההתנגדויות. אבל אם לומדים חסידות כטעימה בגילוי משיח, הרי מה כתוב בימות המשיח? מה יהיה? ולא יהיה עסק כל העולם אלא לדעת את השם מלבד. ומלאה הארץ דעה את השם כמים לים רכסים. משיח מגיע, אנחנו 24 שעות נהיה שקועים בהשגת אלוקות, באופן של ידיעה או באופן של הרגשה. וככל שמתקרב יותר זמן הגאולה, הטעימה מגילוי משיח זה טעימה גם מאותו אופן של לימוד כפי שיהיה בימות המשיח. זאת אומרת, בהרחבה גדולה, ובהסברה גדולה, ובהבנה עצומה, ובדעת עצומה. זה טעימה מגילוי משיח. והנפקא מינה הוא בין חסידות הכללית, שכל הדברים שם מופיעים כפתגמים קצרים, כרעיונות קצרים, לבין גילוי חסידות חב"ד, שזה עיקר העניין של י"ט כסלו. שהאדמו"ר הזקן ישב בבית סוהר, בגלל שהתעורר עליו קטרוג בשמיים. זה לא הקטרוג על גילוי תורת החסידות טיפין. זה לא הקטרוג על גילוי תורת החסידות ברמה שיש מעט אור שיורד בעולם, וכל אחד ואחד לומד פתגנים קצרים ורעיונות קצרים. זה כבר היה קטרוג כזה, וכבר הקטרוג הזה הוסר בזמן המגיד ומזריץ', וכבר היה גילוי כזה שכבר אושר מהשמיים, כבר בשמיים אישרו את זה. אדמו"ר הזקן מתחיל גילוי חדש באופן שאני חווה, והסברה חסידית חב"ד, שהתחילה בעיקר אחרי היציאה מבית הסוהר בפתח דוד. גם בהרחבה באופן של לימוד כפי שיהיה בימות המשיח, אבל על כל פנים טעימה בצורת הגילוי הזה. וכאן אתה רואה קטרוג חדש. וזה החידוש של י"ט כסלו, שאז יוכלו באמת ללמוד באופן של הרחבה כזאת, ובשמיים אישרו את העניין הזה, נתנו את האישור לבעל שם טוב, וכפי שאדמו"ר הזקן שאל את הבעל שם טוב ואת המגיד שבאו לבקר אותו בבית הסוהר, האם בגלל הקטרוג שיש עליהם בשמיים על הפצת החסידות יותר מדי, בצורה של ימות המשיח, האם בגלל הקטרוג אני יצמצם, ימנע, יחזור לצורה כפי שגילו את החסידות בזמן המגיד המזיץ'? אמרו לו רבותם עולם האמת, חס ושלום, מכיוון שהתחלת, אל תפסיק. ועד הרבה, לכשתצא תאמר יותר. אומר הרב, מאותו סיבה, כשאדמו"ר הזקן יצא מבית הסוהר ושולח מכתב לרבי יצחק ומרדית שם, מה הוא מתאר, מה הוא י"ט כסלו? שהגויים התרגשו. ואמרו, הפליא השם והגדיל לעשות בארץ. וענו ואמרו, בעת השם הייתה זאת. מה פירוש? משיח מגיע, גם הגויים לומדים חסידות. ומלא הארץ דעה את השם כמים וים חסיד. כל אומות העולם ישיגו אלוקות בהרחבה ובהסברה גדולה. אלא שההבדל הוא שיהודים מתגלה בהם שהם עצמות ומהות ממש. והגויים ישיגו אלוקות, אבל הם רק אור וגילוי המתפשט מהשם. זה לא עצמות השם. זה נבראים ולא בורא. זה נבראים שמשיגים בגדלות השם באופן נפלא. בואו זה כן מרמז לו, לרבי יצחק ומרדית שם, מהו התכלית של י"ט כסלו? התכלית של י"ט כסלו זה לא אותו גילוי תורת החסידות שהיה בזמן המגיד, כי על זה כבר אין קטרוגים. הקטרוג שמתחדש, הקטרוג שמתעורר זה הגילוי חדש אחר. זה גילוי של ימות המשיח. ואדמו"ר הזקן אומר לו, ומה קרה כשיצאתי בי"ט כסלו מבית הסוהר? התחיל להאיר בעולם גילוי משיח. הנה, אתה רואה, הגויים כבר מתרגשים ואומרים, מאת השם הייתה זאת. אולי נרחיב מעט. ידוע שכשיהודים יצאו ממצרים, הגאולה הייתה לא רק לעם ישראל. הגאולה הייתה גם למצרים עצמם. הרי פרעה כל הזמן טען ואמר, לא ידעתי את השם. אני מכיר רק בשם אלוקים. אני מכיר רק באותה דרגה אלוקית מצומצמת שנקראת אלוקים בגימטריה הטבע. אבל בשם הוויה, בגילוי אינסופי של הבורא, אני לא מכיר. ויציאת מצרים הייתה בקיעה במסך הזה של הגויים. שהגויים ביציאת מצרים התחילו לקבל איזושהי הכרה מסוימת במציאות הבורא יתברך, גם באינסופיות של הבורא. לא רק באלוקות של הבורא כפי שהיא מצמצמת את עצמה לנבראים, אלא גם בדרגת הבורא האינסופי שלמעלה משייכות לנבראים. ולכן, באמת, ביציאת מצרים כתוב, ויציאת מצרים כני הוויה. מה החידוש של יציאת מצרים? הידיעה בשם ההוויה שמבטאת את הגילוי האינסופי של הבורא, ולא רק הידיעה בשם אלוקים, שזה כבר היה למצרים לפני כן גם כן. במילים אחרות, מהו יציאת מצרים? הכרת הבורא לא רק לעם ישראל, אלא הכרת הבורא במידה מסוימת, התחלת גילוי גם לגויים. וכמי צאתך מארץ מצרים הרי לנפלאות, מהו החידוש של ימות המשיח? החידוש של ימות המשיח זה גם באותו כיוון של יציאת מצרים, שגויים יתחילו להשיג בבורא עולם. וממילא אומר הרב, אחד ההחלטות שצריך לקבל בי"ט כסלו זה להתחזק לא רק בהפצת שם המצוות בני נוח בין הגויים, אלא מפורשות לפתוח שיעורים ללימוד חסידות לגויים, ללמד אותם שער הייחוד והאמונה. אומר הרי בעליו שגויים לכאורה לא חייבים באחדות השם. גוי אינו מצווה על השיתוף, ושער הייחוד והאמונה כולו זה בעצם לשלול את מושגי השיתוף ולגלות את אחדות השם בעולם. שהוא לבדו הוא ואין זולתו, ואין עוד מלבדו. לא שיש עולם ויש הקדוש ברוך הוא, והקדוש ברוך הוא מנהל את העולם ומחיה את העולם לכל רגע ורגע מהאלה יש. אלא שאין שום מציאות חוץ מבעלתו יתברך. גם לא מציאות שמתהווה מהבורא, אלא אך ורק מציאות הבורא, כי הכל כלול באינסוף המוחלט, והכל בטל ואין ואפס. וזה הגויים לא חיים לדעת. מספיק שהאמונה הכללית בבורא יתברך גם באופן של שיתוף. ואם כן, למה צריכים ללמד אותם שער הייחוד והאמונה? ללמד אותם את אחדות השם. נכון שהם לא מצווים, אבל כדאי שגם הם יחנכו אותם לאט לאט לאחדות השם, וזה יוסיף ברמה יותר גבוהה גם בקיום השם המצוות שלהם, וגם בהערכה שנתחילו להעריך יותר את עם ישראל ולפעול יותר לטובת עם ישראל. אם כן, י"ט כסלו השנה, זה לא י"ט כסלו של פעם. י"ט כסלו השנה זה י"ט כסלו של 25 שנה מאז שהרבי הכריז שכבר נמצאים בימות המשיח. זה יובל שנים, חצי יובל שנים. ואם כן אנחנו נמצאים עמוק עמוק בגאולה. אבל כן אנחנו צריכים לפרוץ דרך ולהתחיל להקים שיעורים של 7 מצוות בני נוח בכל מקום. ולא רק 7 מצוות בני נוח, את הדינים, את ההלכות, אלא להתחיל ללמד אותם ידיעת השם. נזכר תכף מיד ממש, שיקוים הפסוק, והלכו גויים לעורך, וכבוד השם עלייך זרח. ומלא הארץ דעה את השם, כמים לים וחצים, ולא יהיה עסק כל העולם, אלא לדעת את השם בלבד, ויעת משיח צדקנו, במהרה בימינו, אמן. חי וחי.
We're coming to the culmination of the 15th European Moshiach Congress, which is going to end this evening. And those who were present on Thursday evening when we started, that unfortunately this year, which is the first year that Rabbi Liberov has not graced the top table with his presence, and we wish him Chaim Shmuel Menachem Mendel ben Miriam Mariasha Refuah Shalema B'Korev Mamish. So we need a Mamaleh Mokem, we need somebody to take his place. And as I said on Thursday, that now is the time, and perhaps it should happen in other quarters as well, that we give the younger generation the opportunity to take the reins and to take over from the older generation. And since on Thursday evening he was very successful in this endeavor, so I want to call upon the Pirche Kahuna. My son Semach should say the Rebbe's Kapitel, Kuf Yud Gimel, and everybody should please respectfully stand. Semach.
Hallelujah, hallelujah, Abdei Adonai, hallelujah, Shem Adonai.
Hallelujah, hallelujah.
Yehi Shem Adonai mevarach me'at v'yadoilam. V'mezach shemesh ha'mevoyeh mu'lo Shem Adonai. Ramo kogoyim Adonai al shemayim k'vaydoi. Mi k'Adonai Eloheinu ha'magbil l'shavet. משפילי לראש בשמיים ובארץ Miki mi me afada me ash by shari mem yoy. Vashi vim nedeve me nedeve amoy. Vashi vi akar sabay se me bonus mecha hallelujah.
Next year, Bezos Hashem, you can be the MC as well. So you get some practice in. Without further ado, as I said, the night is still young, but time passes very quickly, and people in England especially want to get to bed early, so we don't want to delay matters. I would like to call upon Rabbi Yechezkel Ezra Moses, one of the Choshev Mispalim here in Beis Moshiach, to finalize the learning of the Rambam. Today we're on this year we're ending and starting the 33rd cycle of the Rambam. Without further ado, I would ask Rabbi Moses to please come to the podium. Yeah, all right. No, but for one parak a day, we're also.
No, but you mentioned 33. I think we've done it 33 times. I'll be honest, it's my 11th time. I only do one parak a day. L'chaim. I'm digging myself.
Chiyat Neinu Morim Rabbeinu Melech HaMashiach Le'olam Goel. Gal Einai Vavita Niflesecha Mitoyosecha. David HaMelech, the original King Moshiach, says in his Sefer Tilim, Gal Einai Vavita Niflesecha Mitoyosecha, 33, corresponding to the number 33, which is where we are now, that open your eyes and you will see, and I will see miracles from your Torah. Where do we get this amazing level of Kedusha and Tara? It's by learning under pressure, learning constantly, learning Torah at a very, very deep level. We have the 15th Congress, which is also amounting to the inyan of Toiv, good, positive inyanim. And if one will think about the amazing situation we have now, whereby the Rambam in his Heichel sees all the people around the world being Oisik and Rambam, it's unimaginable to think how it is and how thankful he must be to the Rebbe Melech HaMashiach, and he must be asking the Eibishter how much more until you bring the Geulah, and we can actually do these mitzvahs as written in the Rambam. As is natural, which was the Seder by the Rebbe, that there was always a Hadran. It's important to do things al derech the way the Rebbe always did it, as always, and it's constant. In the end of in Perek Yud Aleph in Rambam, it says. The Rambam says, "Melech HaMashiach osid lamud lahasim malchus beis David leishana." The Melech HaMashiach is going to return everything back to how it was. V'chol mi she'enoi maimin boy. Anybody who doesn't believe in it or does not be mechaka to his coming, not in the other Nevi'im is he kofer, does he deny, but he also in the Torah of a Moshe Rabbeinu, because the Torah gave testimony on him, and it says, "V'shom Hashem elakecha eshvuscha," and the Eibishter will return our returning. The Eibishter himself finds himself in Golus, and it was brought down in Rashi. It says that basically the Eibishter has a very hard time. He has to get us out of Golus. He has to be into Golus to take us out of Golus, and it's a tzar for the Eibishter, and the Eibishter wants the Geulah. V'richamcha v'shov kibtzecha, I'll bring you back, v'gemer. If you'll be in the edges of the world, I'll bring you back, and I'll bring you back to Eretz Yisrael. These are the things which are explained in Torah, which contain the things which are said through the Nevi'im. Now the Rebbe is going to actually, basically, is going to really strengthen the union of Mashiach in bringing down in this halacha. Af b'parshas Bilom nem v'shom nibei b'shnei hamashiachim, that he was giving nevuah of the two Mashiachs, David and the present one, the Melech HaMashiach. The Mashiach Harishin, which is David, and the following one, which is now. Now the second halacha, in halacha base, it says, Af ba'ori miklo to'ema im yachav Hashem alakecha es gulcha. HaKadosh Baruch Hu will make your boundaries bigger. V'yosafta lecha oid shalish orim. It will give you 3 more cities. Very, very negay to the Levim. U'ma'olam lo yehaya davar zeh. This was never, right? V'lo yitziv HaKadosh Baruch Hu l'toyin. The Eibishter didn't give it for nothing. Aval v'divrei ha'neviim ein davar tzarech raya. From the Nevi'im, it's not necessary to have rayas. Shekolas for melei b'davar zeh. Everything's full of it. So now the shaila is, why does he have to go and talk in Ori Miklot about this extra thing? What's the need for Ori Miklot? What's the extra thing? And we see that he's underlining the inyan of Amunah in Melech HaMashiach, which is very important. Not only is he talking about Bias HaMashiach in that halacha, he's talking about the importance in having Amunah in the Melech HaMashiach. And this is through the whole Torah, where it says in Torah, Nevi'im and Ksuvim, this is where we have to have Amunah. And anybody who doesn't believe in this is Kaifa B'Torah. Now, the Rosh Amunah, L'Abarbanel, brings down in his Sefer Mashmi Yeshua, he says that basically the Amunah and Mashiach is in Torah, Nevi'im and Ksuvim, and all the Nevi'im give testimony, Yeshaya, all these Nevi'im give testimony to the coming of Mashiach. So it's basically a principle which has power between Torah, Nevi'im, and Ksuvim. It's a very, very powerful thing. Nevertheless, in Sanhedrin, there is a big dispute. Rabbi Hillel says, Kva achlu Chizkiah. Chizkiah it was already eaten in the days of Chizkiah, that the inyan of Mashiach, ein Mashiach li Yisrael. So everybody goes crazy. What are you talking about? Ein Mashiach li Yisrael. That there's no Mashiach li Yisrael. So he explains that the reason is because they lost a bit of a mun in the time of Chizkiah, and he held that the Yidden at Seif Galuson, they're not going to do tshuva. They're not going to return back and do tshuva. It's going to be something that we're going to have to wait for the appointed time. And nevertheless, Rabbi Yosef told him that he has to do tshuva on this inyan, but not that he said that Ein Mashiach Yisrael, that we'll have to wait and there won't be the inyan of tshuva. Now we know very well that the Rebbe said that we've already done tshuva and that we don't even need the berurim. It's very amazing that recently there was a likut I saw over here where somebody was trying to explain that, the Rebbe said there's no berurim, but I'll explain to you how there is berurim. But we have to take things b'pashta. So the Rebbe said the berurim are finished, the berurim are finished. So therefore, what is the hisofa in the Ori Miklot? What is the actual extra thing that we've got now in the inyan of Ori Miklot? Now the Rebbe explains that the inyan of Bias HaMashiach is one of the Tanai of the mitzvah Shabbat. That means to say, Ori Miklot brings in a power that's absolutely infallible. You can't play around with it. Even if somebody wants to be kaifa b'Torah and wants to say things that the Torah said things and we don't understand, and even the Rebbe says it wouldn't be a kafira, because basically it could be that we're not we don't take things all b'pashtas. Nevertheless, when the Rambam goes and talks about the inyan of Ori Miklot, it becomes a t'nai in a mitzvah. That means to say, anybody who doesn't believe in the coming of Mashiach and Mashiach has a question in mitzvahs, because it's one of the Tanaim, it's one of the details which is in the mitzvahs, and it has to happen. The Torah is not mukhlefes, the Torah doesn't change, and it has to happen. So there are no changes, and it has something which has to happen. The question is asked, by Nevuah there can be shenuyim, just to understand the power which falls on Nitzchias HaTorah. When we're talking about Nitzchias of Torah, the fact that Torah is constant and it never can be changed, and it's everlasting, let's look at it as opposed to the shinuyim in nevuah. If somebody has a nevuah, and it's a nevuah, a negative nevuah, it could be that that nevuah will not come through. Why? Because it's a negative thing, and they do tshuva, so it won't come through. So there can be shinuyim in nevuah. Nevertheless, in nevuah, there can be times when nevuah will happen because it's a positive thing. Nevertheless, nevuah is not something that has no shinuyim, whereas Torah has no shinuyim. Torah, the nitzchis of Torah is so powerful that it has no shinuyim. So any mitzvah which when we talk about Torah, it's got nitzchis, it's got something which is constant. So we see when we're talking about nitzchis Torah, it's very powerful. So there again, we can ask the question: what's so powerful about a mitzvah? Why is this mitzvah so powerful? When we're talking about nitzchis Torah, it's also powerful, and it's written all the way through Torah about Moshiach. All the way through Torah, it talks about Moshiach. So what's so special about this mitzvah? So we'll say that basically, when you're talking about nitzchis Torah, there can be changes. For example, Ad Yava Amcho Hashem talks about the first coming Benegeya to Yeshua, right, by Yeshua. So he was successful, he crossed the river. Ad Yava Amzukonisa Ezra, he wasn't successful. Ezra, by the Biyashniya, he wasn't successful. So therefore we could say, but it should come begashmis. It doesn't come begashmis. It's baruchnis, but not begashmis. Ben Sora Meira. You've got Ben Sora Meira. If you've got Ben Sora Meira, is the Metzias actually? Do we actually see such a situation? We don't. It's something that needs so many things to come. Ir Hanidachas, also very, very hard. So that we see that it's not something that can sometimes come begashmis. It's sipurim, it's hey, it's an olam yonim. It can be higher. Whereas a mitzvah, if we're told that we're going to have an ori miklot, that is something that has to happen. It is something that is certain, and it has to happen. And anybody who does not have a munarit is koifa poshet in kol haTorah kula. When we're talking about the nitzchias in the other chelkei haTorah, we're talking about Torah, like we said, it's not as powerful as the nitzchias which are in mitzvahs in the mitzvahs of Torah, which is something which is everlasting. It doesn't have any shinui. Yet the question is, why does the Rambam bring this last bit, v'sham niba b'shnei hamashichim? And here we see something really, really powerful. We're talking about nevuah. If we realize what we're talking about, in the Rebbe's room there was a countless nisim and niflois. There was countless inyonim of nevuah. And we think about what the inyan of nevuah is. Nevuah is tremendously powerful. And the Rambam is saying that basically one is kaifa also in this inyan of nevuah. Nevuah, it is so powerful. Why is it powerful? Because you can have a person that poshet, his das connects to the das of Hashem, and as a result of that das connecting to the das of Hashem, he is menabah, and he has nevuah. And we see that when it comes to Torah, there can be different cases. If someone does an aveira, it's color, it can be a light aveira, it can be a serious aveira. Whereas when you're talking about nevuah, there's no change. If somebody doesn't listen to nevuah, unfortunately, it will be chayv misa b'dei shemaim. He'll be mechuyev misa. So we see that nevuah is a tremendously powerful thing. And the Rebbe's Magdid explains the whole inyan of nevuah, what the inyan of nevuah is, that basically it's an inyan where the Eibishter is menabeh b'nei Adam. His seichel becomes interconnected with the Eibishter, and as a result of this connection to the Eibishter, he can see metabah ha'oretz, he can see from the depths of the earth, right up to the top, he can see exactly what's going in olam yonim etachtonim. He can see all these inyanim. And he interconnects to the Eibishter, so that's very, very powerful. So therefore, one has to be very, very careful when it comes to nevuah, and not being oisik and not believing in the whole in of Mashiach and Geula is something which is koifa in the inyan of nevuah as well. So to go over it again, one who doesn't believe in the inyan of Mashiach, he is kaifa b'Torah Moshe Rabbeinu, which is Moshe Rabbeinu and all the Nevi'im afterwards. Obviously, Moshe Rabbeinu was also on this very high level of nevuah. He's kofer also in the Nevuah Shabbatayra. He's kofer in the Nevuah, which is all the way through. It's full of it, right? And he's kofer the mitzvah satayra because he doesn't believe a mitzvah that the Eibusha says is going to happen is going to happen. Now the question is asked at the end of all this, what is the inyan of Ori Miklot? What is Ori Miklot? Miklot is a hagona. It's like a defense. It's like a helping, right, against negative things, against the Yetzer Hara, and against the Goyal Hadam, somebody who comes to pay back for somebody who kills someone.
To avenge the blood.
Klita, which is the lotion of Klita. So what's going to happen is that when there's going to be the Ori Miklot, there's going to be a defense and a shmira from all the negative things, and like I was saying today, there'll be madonim, there'll be loads of riches and etc. and things like that, because we'll be mamish in a different tukufa where molor is a deyes Hashem that will actually be able to understand the deeper secrets of the Torah. So in the last halacha of Rambam, the Rambam says, Loi nisavu hachachamim v'haneviyim Yemais HaMashiach, that the Chachamim and the Nevi'im didn't wait for Yemais HaMashiach, Loi kedei sheyishletu al kol ha'olam. Not that it would have power on the whole world. V'loi kedei sheyedu v'akum, that it would have power on the goyim. V'loi kedei sheynosu oisem ha'amin, not because the nations would lift them up. V'loi kedei lecha v'lishtas l'smoyach, and not to be happy to eat and drink all day. Ele kedei sheyu pnuyim b'Torah v'chachmasa, in order that they should be free in the Torah and its teachings. Somebody who, God forbid, stops them from learning Torah, in order that they should be zocher to chayil mabah, so basically, it's in order to be marba hadeya ba'Hashem. And what we're saying about Sheva Mitzvah B'nai Noyach, we can see that this is mamish a prerequisite for the Gili of Mashiach. That the Rambam in the last part of Rambam talks about Sheva Mitzvahs B'nai Noyach. As Rabbi Notik was talking about, this is a tremendous, powerful mitzvah that actually needs to be done, and the goyim have to be able to be ready. This was what the Rebbe was talking about, and why the Rebbe was so oisik in his inyonim. This was preparing for Gili Mashiach. Uveisaz man. In that time there will be no famine or war. There won't be any envy. How could you have envy when you've got everything? There's no necessity to be envy if everybody's got the same thing. The good will be in abundance. All the delicacy will be found like the dust of the earth, riches, etc., whatever you want to call it. The only thing that will be involved with is the knowledge of Hashem. And therefore, the Yisrael will be Chachomim Gedolim. It says Chacham Odef Menovi. Now, there can be the Mefarshim, all the Mefarshim say that basically the way that a tzaddik is oisik and connects to the Eibishter through his Chachma. He's on such a high level in Chachma that it's even more powerful than Novi. But nevertheless, they'll be very great, wise people, and they'll know things which are completely closed. And they will understand the intellect of Hashem according to the Koyach of Adam. This is a maximum to a very, very high level. The world will be full of the knowledge of Hashem, like the waters cover the seas. This is the finish of Hilchos Malachim and the complete Chibur. Blessed is the one who said the world in detail and in general. Nigma Sefer Arba Osa, the 14th Sefer of Chazaka, Vu Sefer Shoftim, Hilchos of Chomish, the halachas of 5, Prokov Echad Shmeinim, and there's 81 halachas. Hilchos Sanhedrin, Shisha V'Esim Prokim, the Hilchos of Sanhedrin, which is 26 Prokim, Hilchos Eidas, Shnaim V'Esrim Prokim, 22 Prokim, Hilchos Mamrim, Shiva Prokim, the halachas of Mamrim, Shiva Prokim, Hilchos Ovel, Arba Osa Prokim, Hilchos Ovel, 14 Prokim, Hilchos Malachim, Shnaim Osa Prokim, and Hilchos Malachim is 12 Prokim, Kol Eloches HaSefer B'chol Shleisha V'Shmenim 83. V'Aprokim, there are Tov Kuf Pei Beis Prokim. Tam V'Nishlam Shvach L'Keil Beira Olam. Blessed is the creator of the world. So, what I'd like to say before I start the new machzor, that basically anybody who wants to experience something amazing, take the Moira Shir that we have here and start, even if it's one perik. If you can't do 3 prokim, it's an amazing experience to learn Rambam. As you know, we've learned it countless times, and every time you learn the Rambam, you get something extra that you never had before. This is preparing for the Gili of Moshiach. When we start off the first perik of Rambam, draw your chesed to the ones who know you. Sefer Hamada, the Sefer of knowledge. And the tzedek for the kindness to the tzedek to the kind-hearted, the straight-hearted. V'hu Sefer Rishon, this is the first Sefer. Hilchos of Chomish, the halachas of 5. It says Sudurim, this is the order. Hilchos Yesodei HaTorah, the principles of Torah. Hilchos Deis, the halachas of Deis, how people behave one to another, and etc. Hilchos Talmud Torah, the halachas of Talmud Torah. Hilchos Avedas Kechavim, Avedas Zora, Umazolis, V'chukis, Avedas Kechavim, Mazolis, the Mazolis and the statutes of the Avedas Zora, Umazolis, Hilchos Shuvah, Hilchos Shuvah. Hilchos Yesodei HaTorah, the halachas of Yesodei HaTorah. Yesh B'chol and 10 mitzvahs, 10 mitzvahs, Shevish mitzvahs, Asay, 6 mitzvahs, Asay. These are the details. Leida sheyesh shom elaka, to know that there is a God. Shelo yalev mashava sheyesh shom elaka achas elosei Hashem, not to think that there is any God except Hashem. Liyachtoi, to be miyached Him. La'avei, to love Him. Liyiru mimenei, to fear from Him. L'kadosh shmei, to sanctify His name. Shelo lechalel shmei, not to profane His name. Shelo le'abed dvarim shenikra shmei aleim, not to destroy things which His name is on it. So therefore, we just finished, and we're talking about this whole Inyan of Nevuah, which is at the end of Rambam. And the Rambam starts again, to listen to the prophet who speaks in my name. One should realize when we're talking about Nevuah, how powerful the Inyan of Nevuah is. That when we say, the Rebbe said, Anovim higia zman gulaschem, Anovim, the time of redemption is coming. Who was saying Anovim higia zman gulaschem? None other than the Eibishter Baruch Hu. It was the Eibishter who said Anovim higia zman gulaschem. Shaloi lenasoisei, not to test the Eibishter. Ubiya kol mitzvah elu v'prokem elu, an explanation of all these mitzvahs in this prokem. And the Rambam starts. Yesod ha-yesodos, the foundation of all foundations. Va'amud ha-chochmas, and the pillar of all intellect. Leida, to know. Sheyesh shom motzi rishon, there is one Metzias. V'hu mamsi kol nimtza, and he brings together all existence. V'chol hanimtsoyim, and anything which is found. Mishamayim, from the heavens, v'eretz, and the ground. Umashe b'neim, which is in the middle. Loi nimtzu ela memitis hemitzoy, only comes from the true existence. The question can be asked, why does the Rambam start off with Yud Kei Vav Kei? You can see Yesod HaYesodis V'Amud HaChokmes is Yud Kei Vav Kei, which is the name of Hashem. In order for us to understand, that we can understand the Metzias of Hashem, but the Mohus, which is the Shem HaMafeirish, the Yud Kei Vav Kei, it's very, very hard to understand the Mahus. Moshe Rabbeinu wanted to understand the Mahus, and it was very, very hard. The Eibishter showed him the back, and he saw a very high level that we can't even imagine. So at this particular time, where we have all these things coming together, Megalgalin Schos Yom Zakai, this day is a Yom Zakai, Yutes Kislev, Chov Kislev. Tonight, Chov Aleph Kislev, in Satna, they're also Chogeg, the Yeshua of the Reb Yoel. We see all these things coming together. It's a tremendous Eis Rotzen that anybody who has any inyonim, any negative inyonim, they should all go away. They should completely be bottled.
Amen.
As we say, a Chassidish Verbrengen can uftu, even Malach Mechoil can't uftu. And we should have anybody what they need, Panosa and Brius, and zivugim and all kinds of inyonim, that anything that anybody wants, they should have it, and we should be zeicha to the main thing that we're waiting for. The Hisgalus of the Rebbe, Melech HaMashiach, take it from Yad Mamish, L'chaim. Yechi Adeneinu, Moreinu V'Rabbeinu, Melech HaMashiach, Le'elam Voed. Yechi Adeneinu, Moreinu V'Rabbeinu, Melech HaMashiach, Le'elam Voed. Yechi Adeneinu, Moreinu V'Rabbeinu, Melech HaMashiach, Le'elam Voed. L'chaim.
Why weren't you here on time?
If you agree on going, by asking parents, and one of the two is like your health, you're number 3 I forgot. But for me,
What about all the plane and they make them he doesn't know anything. You know, with all due respect, a few other cackers at the wedding, nobody's going to dance. You don't know if that's one of the things. Yeah, and this is, you've got to be very platforms. This is what we, irrespective, it's going to come at you from all angles. Yes, they do. They've made that quite clear. This is what she actually said. It's one of the things she brought out. So listen, we're going to we have to check people. So when everybody asks where it is, people are saying it's either going to be in
Moses.
They want to get married in June. After Shabbos. That's what they want to do.
And now, without further ado, I'd like to call upon Rabbi Yisrael Cyprus, Rov of Egerton Road Shul, one of the Choshim Mispalim here in Beis Moshiach. Come say Divrei Brocha v'chizuk to the Rabbi Cyprus.
But he's working within the rabbis. At the moment, they're looking to work on the new turret. New turret for the new tank.
Is there any more beans?
Drink it up.
Chaim l'chaim, Moshiach le'elam vo'ed. Chaim l'chaim.
completely remote, no people in there.
On the way.
You remember by now, the moment there's 5 people inside. This new one is going to have 2. And the new
Bruchim Abayim B'Shem Hashem. Everyone here is welcome to this Kinos Europe, Kinos Moshiach Europe. And as Rabbi Cheskel mentioned, then we're talking about the connection to Sim HaRambam, and I've been asked to do the Psichas HaRambam, the new cycle. So, as been pointed out on the Pirush HaRambam itself, and was mentioned before, that the Rambam opens up with the words Yesod HaYesodis V'Amud HaChochmas, which has the letters of Yud, then Hey, Yesod HaYesodis V'Amud HaChochmas, and Vavke, it's the Shem Hashem, it's the name of the Eibishter. So each and every one of us who participates in the Sima Rambam and the Haskalah of the Rambam is Bruchim B'Shem Hashem. So each and every one who's taken this initiative to come here tonight is blessed in the name of the Eibishter with everything you need. Begashmis and Beruchnius. So it's a time, an auspicious time to make the right wishes and to ask the right bakoshes, and the Eibishter should be mamal of them all, the table of the Vracha.
Amen. Benigle.
getting out of the way.
In this respect, I brought something which is timeless, and it's something very special to me. I'm going to show it in a moment. But this is, when I was learning the Tanya with my son, in preparation for the Bar Mitzvah, I noticed this popped up. It's a doll of the Rebbe. So I looked at it, and I read it. When is it from? The Siyata Dishmaya, Shlichus Mitzvah. So it's a Shlichus Mitzvah. Michok Admor Melech HaMashiach Shliter. So it's from the Rebbe Melech HaMashiach with the title which the Rebbe accepted upon himself later on. Siyum HaRambam HaElomi, in connection to Siyum HaRambam HaElomi, which year? Chofei Tishrei, the 25th of Tishrei, Hoya Tehei Shnas Niflois de Gulis, Tovshin Nun Daled. Tovshin Nun Daled. So here, I was in the crowd who went to the Siyum HaRambam, and I was Zeicher to get a doll of the Rebbe, here it is, from Tovshin Nun Daled, to be Mishtatef in a Siyum HaRambam. Now this is not the first time the Rebbe encouraged everyone to be Mishtatef, and gave a bracha to each and every person who came. So in that spirit which I mentioned before, each and every one of you who have come tonight is mamish, quite literally, B'Shem Hashem is blessed in the name of the Eibishter. The Rebbe's brachas are continuing today, and it's as if each and every one of us has received this dollar here tonight to be mishtatef in this Sima Rambam, in the Simcha of the Alter Rebbe, and in preparation to Kabbalah's Pnei Mashiach Tzidkeinu. To start off the Rambam, the new Machzer, so first of all, I want to point out some amazing connections to the time we are in. First of all, the parsha itself. We're in the new week of the Parsha Miketz. We already laid the Parsha Miketz at Mincha Shabbos. And what's interesting about the Parsha Miketz is that the Rebbe told us that as soon as you hear the name Miketz, straight away it comes to mind, what does it mean? Ketz refers to Ketz HaGeula. Since the Rebbe has trained us, and we learn that each and every part of our life has to be connected with Mashiach and Geula, so when we look at a word and we look at a parsha, we see the connection. Straight away, it jumps in our eyes. Miketz means that we're standing the Ketz HaGeula. We are standing ready to greet Mashiach. What's interesting here is the Pirush HaRamban. The Ramban points out that when you translate the word Miketz, there's two ways you can look at it. Two sides of the spectrum. There is one end, and there's another end. There's the beginning and an end. So literally, the end can be a Ketz, but a Ketz can also be a beginning, the start as well. So we see straight away a connection to this year's Hashkocha Pratis, divine providence, that Rambam is full, the Sima and the Haschol of Rambam is full on Mikates, because we have simply, we finish the Rambam, we have one Mikates, and you have a new beginning, a Kates of a new Haschola of the beginning of a new cycle in Rambam. Which reminds us as well quite clearly that also when it comes to the Geula, we remember the words reverberating in our ears, where the Rebbe's told us that we are the last and the first. In what respect? We're the last generation of Golos, what we've been experiencing till now, and we ourselves, each and every one of us, are also the first generation of Geula, the beginning of Geula, when we're going to see that final moment, and may it take place at this Chassidish Farbrengen, at this gathering, that we should be Zeicher to this moment in history, a moment which will change the face of history, that it should be that Mikates, taken Yad Mamish as well.
Amen.
Another interesting connection is, when we look at the words itself, Yesod HaYesodis V'Amod HaChachmas, the foundation of all foundations, and the pillar of all wisdoms, Leida Sheish HaMotzi Rishon, to know that there's a first being, the Eibishter. So when we look at these words, a pashto question comes to mind. What's the Rambam saying? The foundation of all foundations is to know there's an Eibishter. Fine, but he uses the expression Ba'amud HaChachmas. It's the pillar of all wisdom. All wisdoms, the wisdom of Torah, he doesn't define, it's open, that it means all wisdoms which are out there is based on this knowledge of, to know there's an Eibishter. But what's one got to do with the other? You can ask a simple question. Chochmas is wisdom. You understand things, you intellectualize, you look at things and you try and understand them. What's that got to do with knowing there's an Eibishter? Why should that be the foundation of everything? That's one question we can ask. The second question is, why does the Rambam use, it's a famous question, the expression Leida Sheish HaMotzi Rishon, to know. He doesn't say to believe, which is the normal expression. Believe there's an Eibishter. To be a Ma'amin, that's what a Yid is. To be we're Ma'aminim b'nei Ma'aminim, which is very famous by singer and BD. But the Nekuda is that that's what the whole foundation is, to have a munah. So why does the Rambam use the expression Leida, to know? Now, coming from Yutes Kislev and the scholars of Chassidus, we now have a deeper appreciation and understanding what is the Rambam saying. Perhaps without the revelation of Chassidus, it would be obscure, it would be very difficult to understand why the Rambam is choosing these specific words to start out the whole Torah Kula, the whole of Rambam, which is mirroring all of Torah, all Torah Shabbat, Torah Shabbat Peh. So we know, Chassidus explains, that the Gemara in Bracha says you can have such a mitzias as Ganva Pumach Tarte Rachmana Karye. You can have such a mitzias, it's very strange, but there can be such a thing, that you have a thief who is by just to commit a robbery, and what is he doing? He has to make a little prayer to be successful. How can it be such a thing? Before he's over on the Eibishter's Ratz, and he's doing the opposite of what the Eibishter wants, and now I'm offering up a prayer that I should be successful in this. How is that possible? So Chassidus explains, the only way we can understand this is that Emunah is different than Deo. Understanding is different than just plain belief. Belief can be superficial. Yes, I believe, but I can also believe that Hashem will help me be successful in carrying out something which He doesn't want, because I believe so. That doesn't translate into action. Whereas when we learn Chassidus and we take on to learn Tanya every day, or my Morim, we look inside, we spend a few moments, then we understand later, we personalize it, we internalize it to such an extent that it affects our actions, and we realize what we are doing. And this is what the Rambam is saying, Leida Sheish Lamot Rishon, that it's not only good enough to believe, that was one stage, but now we need Leida to understand the Eibishter. We've got to learn, we've got to appreciate Chassidus, and then we're going to be much more ready to understand when we're going to see Gilui Likus, when we see the Eibishter being revealed, when Mashiach comes, we'll understand what's this and what's that. Just want to bring out another connection with, a beautiful connection with the Siyum and Haskalah. And the way it falls this year is Tanya. We start a new cycle, just like we're finishing Rambam, and we start a new cycle. Same too with Tanya. It's now the train has started. Also, we're learning now the first prakim of Tanya. So the question is there a connection? If you look into it, there is taka connection. The Rambam points out, you said how you say this, the foundation of all foundations is known as the Eibishter, and that's linked into the Sima Rambam, because that's what's going to be revealed when Mashiach comes. When you look in Tanya Kadisha, the first perek also brings the expression explaining what does it mean, what is a neshama, what is Torah, what is mitzvahs. When you learn more, you understand more about Mashiach. In the first perek of Tanya, the Alter Rebbe says, the tzaddik yisod olam. In other words, the world says, you do mitzvahs as a tzaddik. So everyone's a tzaddik, nearly. But it's not hard to be a tzaddik. Whereas the true amitis, the level of tzaddik which is demanded from Tanya is a very high level. This is mahus, this is a level which one has to work very, very hard, and not everyone can reach it. But there is tzaddik yisod olam. One thing we can do, when we connect to a tzaddik, who is the foundation of the world, when you connect to a rebbe, in other words, then you can be connected to the foundation of everything. And that perhaps is a connection the Rambam's talking about. How you say this. How do we grasp the Eibishter? So we know as Chassidim that we need a rebbe. What is a rebbe? A power generator. We only appreciate it when there's a blackout. When there's a blackout, then, we're all crying, where's electricity? We're not going to pay the electricity bill and this and that and the other. Then we appreciate what electricity is. But what is driving the electricity? It goes back to the power generator central station. The central power which is energizing all electricity. And so too, we know that the Rebbe is the Yisod Olam. The Rebbe is the foundation of the whole world. Yes, there's many tzaddikim as it's enumerated in Tanya as well. But there's one foundation, there's one Moshe Rabbeinu in every generation. And this, when we connect to the Rebbe and listen to his directives, as we are doing here tonight, we are connecting to the Yisod. How Yisod is, we're connecting to the Eibishter himself. Do you want to amplify this with a story? There's a story of a general from Eretz Yisrael who came into the Rebbe, and he was in charge specifically of looking after Piguay Tzahal. Those who never, Rahman al-Itzlan, there should never be any more of such things, but he was counting and taking care of those who were fatalities of the war in Eretz Yisrael. So, in his report, he gave over to the Rebbe. The Rebbe was interested what was the number of those who were Nadach had fallen the previous year. If I remember the story correctly, the Rebbe said, the general told the Rebbe, 26. The Rebbe didn't seem to accept that. He says, you're missing out an extra 2. And then the Yechidus continued. And this general went back to Eretz Yisrael and he said, this is very, very strange because he's the guy in charge. I mean, if anyone should know, it should be me. And he does an analytical research and all the papers and reports, and Itaka came to the conclusion that the Rebbe was right. He was missing two in the report, which were unaccounted for. So later he realized that they were from the secret intelligence and it couldn't be revealed, those extra numbers, but whatever the reason, he realized that the Rebbe knew it. When he came back the next occasion to the Rebbe, so he was still wondering and puzzled, how could that be? How can a Jew sitting, a Yid sitting in Brooklyn, New York, know the numbers of those who passed through in Eretz Yisrael more than the one who's in charge? So the Rebbe responded, from this very room, all the neshamas which come into this world go through this place, and all the neshamas which go out of the world go through this place, through these daladamas. It all happens over here. Unbelievable. So we see that the Rebbe is the powerhouse. And if we connect to the Rebbe, we have all the brachas we need to carry out our mission in this world. We have everything we need. And we connect it to Yesod, how you say this, this is the way we connect to the Eibishter. He's given us Ve'eminu ba'Hashem u'Moshe Avdei. As Chazal tell us, when you believe in Moshe Rabbeinu, then you can have proper emunah in the Eibishter himself. One more connection just to conclude. The Siyum and Haschol of Rambam is also in very close to the Presumanis of Chanukah, which we're going to celebrate in a few days' time. And Chanukah has the same theme. What is the whole celebration of Chanukah? Because they found a little cruse of oil which was supposed to last one day and it lasted 8 days. And then we have generations after generations of lighting the menorah all around the world in an increasing manner. How does that make sense? To understand this, we also come on to what Chassidus explains, that the Yevonim, the Greeks, weren't against so much the wisdom, the chochmas of Torah. They said, yeah, we're also into philosophy, we're into this, that, and the other. My father-in-law says, from the Shveh, he says that some people are very open-minded. You know, you've got to be open-minded, you've got to learn this, that, and the other. And those who only keep straight on the straight path, they're very narrow-minded. Now, my father-in-law says that some people are so open-minded that their brain falls out. So, the importance of remembering that there is a connection. As we asked, what is the connection between knowing there's an Eibush and all wisdoms? Because if you have the proper emunah, you're on the straight and narrow path. Everything is on the Yesod, Amiti, everything is on a proper foundation, and it goes out to it in a truthful manner. I want to conclude with an appeal that those of us here today, we see something amazing in the last few years, and it's popping up again and again, that those who know, who saw the Rebbe, that's one thing. We saw directly, and that's why now we are so infused, and we're spreading the word, and we're getting people to understand the importance to connect to the Rebbe, even in the here and now. All of those people who didn't have that opportunity, and we've seen something amazing, absolutely amazing, that even though at the moment we cannot see Begoli openly, there are many people who are getting connected to the Rebbe day in, day out, and it's an amazing thing. So the first appeal is those of us who are in that situation, and even those who are younger and they didn't have the merit to see, now is the time to connect to the Rebbe and the words of the Rebbe and the message of the Rebbe, that, and it's such a beautiful message that we are on the threshold of Geula. We are going to be the ones who merit that. So let's now take this opportunity to connect to the Rebbe. And the second appeal is for those of us who are ready saw the Rebbe, and we're really inspired, and we hold ourselves as Hasidim of the Rebbe. Let us not forget that we have to reconnect to the powerhouse. So the appeal is, to myself included, let us reconnect to the Rebbe, let's reconnect, and this place is the Shameless Seferis. We all know that it's a place where we spread the words of the Rebbe, the directives of the Rebbe to the fullest extent, and we wish those that opportune time to wish Nechsidisha for bringing that you should be a Yeshua and Hatzlacha Rabbi Mufloga. We should only see goods and Harchova, and go from strength to strength in this place. And everyone who can help out, and you've done so in being here tonight, we should go strength to strength. The Eibush is al helfen that we should go to Presum and Nissa Mefasim and Nissa HaGeula, and like the Rebbe pointed out, that nowadays we have miracles as well, but maybe it's not so apparent, but you've got to point it out, and that's our job, to point out the miracles as well which happen in these days. One of the miracles is, the Rebbe says, the Nigun, the song of the French anthem. The Chassidim started taking it on years back as a Chassidish tune, as a song of victory. And then, all of a sudden, in the government, there was a change of mind to the Nigun, and they changed the Nigun. It wasn't the same Nigun. They had to make changes because they didn't realize it, but it now belonged to Chassidim. So in a miraculous way, it worked as years back. It was explained the whole story, how it worked out. But the point is that there are miracles happening. We just have to open our eyes and be aware of what's going on. The Rebbe says that the inyan of Geula is imminent. I was speaking to a very a Breslover, a very wonderful Yid, and he was telling me that everyone accepts Tanya Kadisha, come from Yitas Kislev. Everyone accepts that you have to learn the Alter Rebbe's Tanya. But I cannot go on the streets and tell everyone I can learn the Kati Sichas and my Maram of the Rebbe. So I said, not so fast. It's not exactly true, because the Rebbe is a continuation of the Alter Rebbe. The Rebbe is expounding on Tanya, and it's something which is relevant to every Jew in this generation. Tzaddik Yisayid Eilam, the Tzaddik is the foundation of the whole generation, and each and every one of us is connected. Where do we see this? We see this, the Rebbe points out in the Shabbos of Vayeshev, the Rebbe points out that there's a change in our time from the time of the Alter Rebbe. So if we think that things haven't changed, the Rebbe changes that completely and makes the flip and turns it around on its head. Because the Rebbe says in the time of the Alter Rebbe, when there was the war between France and Napoleon and Russia, the Alter Rebbe was the one leading that Russia should be victorious. Not to go into details why, but the Nekuda was that the Russians should be victorious, and Napoleon and the French should have a mapala, they should have a downfall. That was in those days. But we've advanced. We can see clearly we've advanced, because now we have Bati Chabad in France, and on that Farbrengen, the Rebbe said a l'chaim to a group of Chassidim who came from France. And now, as the Haftarah says, the Rebbe points out clearly from the Haftarah of last week, that Tzarfas Hachel Hazeh, that Tzarfas is turned over, that's a sign of Geula. And now that we sing the Nigula Haderes Hamuna, which to the tune of the French anthem, we see that nowadays there's a turnover. In the time of the Alter Rebbe, when we learned, when Tanya was printed and the Alter Rebbe was made for its Tanya, then the Russians should have the upper hand, and France should be down. Nowadays, the whole world, you have Chabad, which is respected by Yidden all around the world. You have in Russia, you have Ukraine, you have all in France, you have Chabad all around. It's also been transformed. So we should be proud that we're in a special generation. And from this kinus, we should dance together to the Gula Mitzvah V'Ashleima Gesundheit with all the brachas, the Gashmis, the Ruchnias, take of Miyad Mamish L'chaim, Rabbeinu Meir, Rabbeinu Melech HaMashiach Leilum Leilum. Chaim.
See if you want.
Square.
Really, when the Chassidim took Mount Silias, did the government change the tune? When the Chassidim took Mount Silias, did the government change the tune?
The whole point of the whole thing was that there would be valid sparks in that song. Well, the Rebbe took tunes that were Goshen tunes and put them. So the Rebbe took the Nalsei song and also did the same thing. By making a holy song, tune, elevated.
What's this about the government changing it when you couldn't? What's this about the government? That's what he meant. Straight out.
When a person doesn't avail, the shell, the nut has a shell. The shell goes down the shell. Goes down the person does. Four more shells. It would come in shell. To remove it, that's when he removes it. Eventually, Tzaddik has no shell. Tzaddik is completely